Kia ora, good evening. A new central hub of resources, technology and advice could help propel Southern dairy farmers' profits if enough funds are raised to make it happen. The Southland Dairy Hub unveiled plans today to purchase up to 380 hectares of land in central Southland to milk 200 cow herds. Around 170 farmers have already pledged one-off donations of $2,000 each, assisting the $2 million in farmer contribution that's needed. The remaining $24.5 million would be met by industry partners Dairy NZ, Ag Research and the soon-to-be wound-up Southland demonstration farm.
It will be difficult to find a pastoral-based research outfit that's larger in terms of the number of cows per herd. So I think that's going to give it some real power. It gives it relevance for farmers in terms of confidence that the results that they'll see they can then go and apply, and they can also challenge the research as well and move that along.
You're trying to keep it local so that you have local research that's relevant to farmers here in Southland. Do you have found a location as yet?
Well, the team's still working on that, and so right now it's all about gaining more farmer commitment. Dairy NZ's committed quite a large sum of money, of farmers' levy money, and Ag Research are committing a lot of money as well to this. There's the ongoing operating costs of research, which again we're budgeting for. But right now, the farmer team, which are really dedicated, a bunch of people, of leaders really, are out there now looking for more support from farmers to put the icing on the cake.
So this really is a funding round. You're looking at around about $2,000 per farmer to be involved?
Yeah, roughly. I mean, that's the number the farmer group here are looking for. It's about saying, look, Dairy NZ's putting roughly a third in, Ag Research will, and local farmers, between what's come out of the demonstration farm and the extra contributions, we'll put the other third in.
If you can't crack it and get the money that you need to create the hub, what will happen here?
Oh, look, I'm confident that we'll get there. So we're only considering that option right now, and we're very eager to get ahead, but at the same time we want to do this right. So the important thing is to take as many people with us as we can.
The demonstration farm's coming to an end. The lease is ending on that property. Again, how timing, assuming that you can, will it be a seamless turnover?
Well, the objective of the group, the organising group, is to get this running by the start of the 2016 season. So that still remains the target. Obviously that's conditional on A, getting the right amount of support locally, and B, finding the right property, and I guess C, getting it set up in time. So there's a few moving parts, but at the end of the day, the great thing that gives me a lot of confidence is that some really good, smart and driven people behind this. And that is, you look around the country and the most successful research or demonstration farms that initiate locally, they've got that farmer support behind them. That is the key ingredient. In
dollar terms, can you put a figure on the benefit of having local research at all?
Well, it's difficult to do that, but I mean, if you look at the local economy and what dairy and all the primary agriculture, but to the dairy generates, it's very, very large. So, and I think this is really about safeguarding the future and kicking on and giving further options so that we've got responsible and sustainable dairying in this region. The south is really important for New Zealand in terms of its dairying output, so I think this is a New Zealand scale project really.
Although the results will be more applicable locally. If people don't come on board to fund the $2,000 or to donate the $2,000, which of course is tax deductible, will the information be available outside of those people?
Oh, look, absolutely. I mean, one of the things about our dairy industry is the real collective spirit, and that's been a hallmark for decades, over 100 years, well over, and where farmers share information and people collectively support things. So at the end of the day, this is not an exclusive thing. This will be available for everybody, but it's really important that we get key farmer support from everybody, because that kind of support then generates more engagement and you get more success out of the whole project.
Farming is New Zealand's most fatal industry. Last year alone, 23 people died in farming-related deaths and thousands of injuries as well each year. Today, a new website was launched called Safer Farms that has the simple resources for setting up good health and safety systems on farm. Jointly funded by ACC and WorkSafe, the site aims to increase farmers' awareness of health and safety risks, as well as managing safety performance. In 2013, over 550 sheep, deer and beef workers suffered farm injuries that led to more than 5 days off work, amounting to more than 53,000 days in total. ACC paid over $7 million for the time off caused by injuries. Bluff was host to a series of celebrations at the weekend to mark 175 years since the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi. Wakaama activities kicked off the celebrations in Bluff, followed by the Ngāi Tahu's Treaty Festival, which was held at Te Araha Marae. Taking centre stage in the celebrations was a controlled viewing area holding native birds set up by the Department of Conservation and Marae to show kakapo, takahe and kiwi. Guest of honour this year was Ngāi Tahu elder Sir Tipene O'Regan, who spoke on treaty relations.
What's important is what the treaty offers us in terms of our forward relationships into the balance of the century. This is the 175th anniversary of the treaty, so as we go into the final quarter or its first 200 years, how do we want it to be? And we've made some huge changes in this society in my lifetime. What's it going to be like for the world of our grandchildren when New Zealand has a wholly different shape, in which most of the Pākehā are old, and even though they'll still be in a majority at the half century, and which the bulk of the tax-paying community will be brown or some distinct shade of brown. They'll be Asian and Polynesian and Māori, and so that's a very different configuration of the society from what we've known. What's the relevance of the treaty and how's that going to assist us in those relationships? That's the mission, that's the question for Waitangi Day.
Still to come on the bulletin, aerial acrobatics at Mandeville plus musical duo Into the East need your vote. Welcome back. Southland music duo Into the East are beating out artists from around the globe, and they're doing it all while they're on tour. Musicians Liv McBride and Graham Waller are on a countrywide tour which is helping to boost their lead on international music site Artist Signal's charts. We spoke to them today to find out how they're managing to take on the country and the world by storm.
We have been not sleeping.
Yeah, I was thinking not sleeping is what we've been not doing.
We've been not hanging out with our family, and we have not been sitting down having cups of coffee.
Yeah, we have instead been rolling around the countryside. We have done a complete circuit of the country in the last 3.5 weeks or so, because we were on our tour, yay, with Arts on Tour, so it's been good, yeah. Been really busy, but good, yeah.
We were playing a wee show in Rangiora, and we'd had a pretty average tour, and we'd had to pay for venues, and we're sleeping in a van, and it was horrible, and there was 4 of us. And so we played a show in Rangiora, and this older guy came up to us and said, look, I'd like to buy a couple of tickets, I'm going to need a GST receipt. And we're like,
wow.
And
asked for a GST receipt for a ticket price for a show.
And so in the end, we made this dinky little handwritten one and said, we'd buy the accountant a bottle of whiskey because it was so terrible. And it turns out that he was the chief of Arts on Tour New Zealand. So he really loved the show, and we were lucky enough to have been asked to do the whole month of February. So.
Yeah, we've had lots of sold out shows. It's been really good this tour because you can feel it building, like on the last tour and on the tour before that. So sold out shows and really, really great responses. Yeah. Lots of people taking home the CD for $20 at the door.
Also available at Trevor Daly Music Works on Tay Street.
Can you tell me how the whole process works for Artist Signal?
Basically, you don't sleep and vote every single hour of the day and hope that you win. So we entered this a couple of months ago and just wanted to get some international sort of support, I suppose, for an international tour next year. So we thought, we'll network with some other artists, and that's kind of how we got out there in the first place. We went on Reverb Nation and networked with some artists, and then they came to our shows, and it was great. And so we thought the same thing would happen with Artist Signal, but it turns out we finished at number 6 in November, and so we went, whoa. So we knew we were going on tour, and so we thought, right, well, let's try and go for the top prize, which is $10,000 US. Yeah. And if we don't get it, that's fine. At least, we'll make a bit of a splash, but we're coming out number 1, so... Yeah.
And all that money's going to go, straight into the next album, so, it's really quite important to us, because it means that we don't have to ask for handouts from anybody else and do a whole bunch of crazy-ass pub gigs or anything like that. So, it's a cool thing, and if we can keep that top place, then, man, it's magic. For a small band like us, it really makes a difference.
And you can vote for Into the East at artistsignal.com/Into the East. Southland skies were filled with hundreds of planes at the weekend. The pilots' feet were set firmly on the ground. Models over Mandeville saw plane enthusiasts from around the country showing off their skills and their prized possessions.
The sun played a part in drawing crowds to Gore at the weekend, but it was the high-flying models which held their interest. The event, hosted by Gore Model Aero Club, saw 65 entries from across the country. Around 300 planes flew over the old Mandeville airfield during the 2 days. Event organisers said although high winds brought the event to an early finish, there was no major damage done to the models and it was an overall successful weekend.
A family reunion of grand proportion brought family from far and wide to Invercargill's oldest surviving wooden house at the weekend. Yule House was built in 1866 by Invercargill draper Robert Duncan Yule and his wife Anne Sarah. This year marks their 150th wedding anniversary, which was celebrated by some of the couple's descendants. Relatives as far forward as 3 times great-grandchildren from around the world visited the house over 2 days to hear the history of Yule House and the involvement family has had in recent years. Direct descendant Michelle Morrison said the main focus of the weekend was to reconnect branches of the family, and to do so was an amazing experience. Southland thespians have been rehearsing behind closed doors and are now ready to take centre stage at Queen's Park.
The last of the technical rehearsals are complete and Shakespeare in the Park is about to take the stage. Tomorrow night, Southland actors will don their costumes and stagehands will roll out props for the first performance of Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew. Director Angela Newell said the cast was ready and awaiting a crowd to perform in front of after months of preparation for the play. Shakespeare in the Park runs 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. from tomorrow until Saturday at Queen's Park. Any cancellations due to weather will be posted on the event's Facebook page.
Invercargill residents enjoyed a relaxing day of picnics and music in the sun yesterday at the Summer Sounds of Southland Festival. The weekend's high winds died down for the Sunday concert and people of all ages kicked back on deck chairs and listened to some local talent. Invercargill band The Sparrow Thieves said the concert was a fresh experience outside of nighttime gigs and the sun brought a strong, welcoming crowd. Summer Sounds is a series of 6 concerts hosted by Venture Southland to celebrate free community music and local entertainers. And time now to check out the weather.
Your forecast on Q is brought to you by Environment Southland. Environment Southland wants to know what you think about our recreational water areas. Where do you go? What do you do? And your thoughts about the water quality. You could win one of 5 $100 vouchers simply by completing their survey. The survey will help them find out whether the water is being tested in the right places and how the service can be improved. Complete the survey online by going to Environment Southland's website or pick up a hard copy from Environment Southland, the Southland District Council, Gore District Council, Invercargill City Council or Public Health South.
And it was a bit of a mixed bag around the country today. Auckland had a high of 24 degrees, Wellington at 22, Christchurch on 12, Queenstown 13 and Invercargill City coming in on 14 and no feedback from Stewart Island today. And tomorrow we can expect fine periods inland but cloudy periods with isolated morning showers about the coast. Winds will be westerly, dying out during the evening. 8s and 9s for overnight lows tonight, climbing to daytime highs of 14 for Oban, 16 for Riverton and 17 for Wyndham. And Gore has 17 forecast, Invercargill 16, while it's looking good in Te Anau on 21 and 18 in nightcaps. In the marine forecast for Fovo, southwest winds east to 25 knots tonight and drop to 15 knots tomorrow evening. Very rough seas easing with a southwest swell of 3 metres, and at Pusica, southwest 30 knots easing to 20 this evening, rough sea easing and a southwest swell of rising to 4 metres for a time. And in the long range forecast, fine apart from areas of coastal, morning cloud with light winds on Wednesday. High cloud will increase on Thursday with northwesterlies developing. Friday showers developing for a time, before becoming fine inland. And that's all from us this Monday evening. Next up on Sport, the part 1 of a 2-part interview with Rugby Southland General Manager Brian Hopley. Part 2 screens on Wednesday night from the news team. Good evening.